All right. Well, welcome to live lessons from a dark and soon-to-be rainy night here in Nashville, Tennessee. I hope you all are doing well. It's going to be a great night. We're so excited to have Rick Vito here with us. Rick, thank you so much.
Steve, great to be here.
For
Thank
being
you.
a part of all this craziness. If you're here, go ahead and type in where you're from. That's always fun. Sanderson, Texas, I see. Manhattan, Shreveport, New Jersey, California, I see coming past there. Oh, here they all come. Can't keep up with them.
Yeah, that's...
Florida, Alabama,
Hi, guys.
Montreal.
And gals.
Yeah, guys and gals. So great to have you all with us. It's going to be a great night. We're going to be talking about blues, slide guitar, of which Rick is just the master with all of that. And if you're going through the Learn a Master Guitar course, this is kind of around maybe session 13. We're going to be talking about blues form and things like that. So that's, if you're roughly around session 13 in the course, then this is going to make sense to you as far as some of the form things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to learn about slide, how to do it, and here's some of Rick's amazing playing. And to get us started off with, Rick, can you play us something?
Sure can.
All right. What are you going to play for us?
Well, let's do a pretty much of a what you would refer to as just Chicago blues shuffle in the key of E. We'll be playing a standard tuning, E chord, Elmore James style, and take it off from there.
All right. Come on. Welcome, Rick Vito.
All right.
I knew it was going to be a good night. I knew it was going to be a good night. Wonderful, Rick. Wonderful.
Thank
you. Wow, so many questions I have. I know you guys have questions as well. If you are interested in being part of our giveaways, we're going to be doing some giveaways a little bit later on in the broadcast, giving away some of Rick's CDs, and we're also giving away an Epiphone electric guitar. So if you're interested in doing that, please be logged in through Ustream, and that way we can see you and pick your name from that, and hopefully you'll be a winner. So anyway, but let's get right into talking with Rick. How did you get started learning guitar?
My mom, when she was a kid, she played it was real popular in the 30s and 40s, the Hawaiian lap guitar. So kids would go and they'd have these Hawaiian guitar bands, and my mom played, and she told me she actually played on the radio. She didn't stay with it really that long, but we had her guitar, so I always was messing around with that guitar with the strings that far off the neck. And of course, this was in the early rock and roll days,
Where did you
pre-Beatles, Philadelphia area. Yeah. So of course, then Philadelphia had American Bandstand, and every day there would be these classic people like Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent and Jerry Lee Lewis would be on. Yeah. So they've got me my own guitar for Christmas one year, and when I was about 8 or 9 years old. So that's when I got into it.
What was your first real gig? First gig you got paid for?
Yeah, it was in high school.
Yep.
I played with some guys that were singers. I was the only guitar player, and it was like a doo-wop group. And they'd sing, street corner doo-wop, and we, all dressed, hair slicked back, long black leather coats and Cuban heels, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I was scared to death, but once we got going and I got up there on stage, and I got the bug.
Yeah, yeah. So you played. What was your first real kind of professional gig? Because I've seen you play with you. Rick has played with so many people over the years. I was just kind of reading a little bit of your bio. Of course, you played with Bonnie Raitt and Fleetwood Mac, and then I saw things as way far back as Little Richard.
Yeah. Yeah, Little Richard was one of my heroes, and my brother, we always used to try to see him whenever we could on TV. And in fact, this is an interesting thing. We were just talking about it. There was an impromptu concert that was going to be given by Little Richard. It was put on. We used to spend the summer at the shore. My father had a business down there. And there was an old converted Acme Market building. They were going to host Little Richard. So my brother and I went, and it was amazing. But also an amazing thing about that was the guitar player was this tall, skinny guy, and he played an upside-down, left-handed duosonic. Well, we found out years later that we saw Jimi Hendrix before he was Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
Wow.
With Little Richard.
That is history.
Yeah.
That is history.
So, yeah, I got a chance to do a substitute gig with Little Richard, and we played on a TV show called The Midnight Special, which was real popular in the 70s. It was like a concert, Saturday night show.
You've played with, I saw a video with you playing with Jackson Browne.
Yeah, Jackson.
Yeah.
2 years with Jackson.
About when was that?
That was 82 and 83.
Okay, so now when were you with Fleetwood Mac?
Fleetwood Mac came in 87.
87,
okay.
For
4 years.
Okay. And then Bonnie Raitt was before that.
Bonnie Raitt, I did once in 77, came back to Bonnie in 80 and 81, and again in 98 and 99.
How did she find you? How did y'all cross paths?
I was working with Roger McGuinn of the Byrds, and we had a group called Thunderbird, BYRD, and we were on the bill a few times with Bonnie and got friendly. I knew all the guys in her band, like Will McFarland, who did the show, and Freebo and all these guys. Because I lived in Los Angeles, and it was sort of the center of the universe for meeting all the happening artists of that time and spinning off one gig to the next. It was a great time to be there.
Yeah. When did you move out to Los Angeles?
In the early 70s.
Early 70s. So you're about what age at that time? You're
like 20 years old.
Yeah. So you were right in the thick of it. A lot of good music coming out of there right around that time.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
And that was John Mayall is.
John Mayall. I got the gig with John Mayall in late '74, and did. I think I've been on 4 or 5 John's records all told.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a really amazing thing because, you know, all the greats played with John Mayall. Eric Clapton and Peter Green, these guys, you know, Mick Taylor,
Yeah.
fantastic British guitar players that influenced everybody, really.
Yeah.
And so that was quite an honor. That was the first gig that I really felt like, I think I'll stick with this.
Now, have you always played slide, or has that been something that has come into your playing as the years went by in your professional playing?
It's something I picked up in school, in college. I'd heard it. I didn't know I was hearing it, though, you know, because I used to listen to a lot of Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
And Brian Jones was actually a really good slide player, but you never saw him do it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what it was making that sound. I thought maybe it was a Bigsby or something, you know. And then I realized that a friend of mine played a little country blues Sun House style. And I heard him playing in the kitchen one day, and I thought it was a record. And I said, man, how do you do that? So he showed me the open G tuning. I said, oh, you tune the guitar, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, and then I got hold of Sun House and Elmore James album and learned how to tune a guitar to D tuning, which is...
Well, let's talk about that. This guitar here is in an E tuning. So kind of talk to the guys about what that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you made a regular E chord like that.
Regular open position E.
Yeah. So what you do is instead of putting your fingers there, you just tune up those strings. So you know, so it turns out to be the same chord.
So the 5th string A would go up to a B. The 4th string D would go up to an E.
Right.
The G, 3rd string G, would go up to a G sharp. So you're putting a lot of pressure on that neck.
Right.
And then the B would stay where it's at. And then the E would high E would stay where it's at. So it's basically an E chord as an open tuning.
Right. And D tuning is the same thing, only a whole step down.
A whole step down.
Right. And that's what Elmore James played in.
Yeah.
A little deeper sound.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more of a janglier
kind
of sound.
Very low, you know, on the bottom.
And one of the things with playing slide is that your action needs to be a bit higher. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. A lot of times, you know, I'll hear from people that, and they get real frustrated with not being able to get the sound and stuff. But what they're doing is they're trying to play it on the regular guitar, the guitar with the low action. And you know, if you get really adept on the guitar, you can do some of that. In fact, some great slide players that I know of do keep their action fairly low, much lower than I would. But I've found that you get a good tone, and it's easier to get a pure tone without fretting out if you just really make that action kind of high.
So you guys probably can't, guys and gals. I'm so sorry. I keep saying guys. Y'all have been fussing at me.
My audience is mostly women. No,
mine unfortunately is not. Sorry, but the high action. If you probably at the 12th fret, I would say is a good 1/4 of an inch.
Oh yeah, easy, 1/4 inch high.
1/4 inch. On that, we already have a couple of questions coming in. Someone is asking the type of guitars playing and Rick's current setup. Okay, so that's kind of what we're talking about there. Talk to us about that's your Reverend guitar?
This is this is an older Reverend. This was made in I guess in the late 90s through maybe 2009 or so, and they were real lightweight, which is why I like them. Sort of a Fender style, but then the pickups could be anything you wanted. You could have humbuckers or Strats, Tellys.
Do you know what's in those?
P90s.
Right,
these are P90s.
P90s.
Yeah.
Wow, it gets such a rich sound.
Yeah, I like the P90s because they have a fat tone. And even on the bridge pickup, you can make it real bitey, or you can roll off the highs, and it gets a really nice fat sustainy sound. And that's in fact the sound that I used with Bob Seger on Like a Rock.
Like a Rock.
So I do like P90s for slide. Although I have some guitars, you know, with Strat pickups. I like humbuckers. I like oddball things like Supro and old National guitars that have those real cheap kind of single coil pickups. They sound great for slide.
The kind of talk us through the sounds. What you were playing there in the intro, that was using the neck pickup?
That was the neck pickup.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is the neck pickup.
And then both pickups would have just a bit more brightness, which is real nice. And then this is the bridge pickup. You know, you can sort of get almost a steel guitar thing if you want. Yeah. And then I'll add a little overdrive and. So that kind of gives you a cross section of the sound.
Rick's got probably the smallest pedal board of any of our guests. It's got
A tuner?
regular Boss chromatic tuner on, and then the Drive-O-Matic. What is that?
This was a pedal that's no longer made. My friend Robert Stamps. He had a store. He was the first guy I knew that had a store strictly devoted to amps and fixing amps, and he created a couple of pedals.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Stamps Drive-O-Matic, and I've just had it for 15 years or so, and I've just gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it because it's not too fuzzy. You know,
Yeah.
you can sort of just turn it on, and it almost acts like just a boost, but with a little more oomph to it.
Yeah.
And then you can dial it in and get it sound more like a Dumble or
Yeah.
you know, a real drive in.
We'll try and get a picture of that before the night is through, and we'll post it up on the discussion board so you can kind of see what he's doing. The other pedal he has is a regular old Boss Reverb Delay RV3.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like that pedal has seen some use over the years.
Yeah. I like pretty simple. Just to me, it's reverb, echo, and drive that gets a good sound. You know, not too much of any one thing.
Yeah.
Although I've used chorus pedals effectively, and tremolo pedals.
Yeah. One of the things that you can do in these open tunings, when you tune your guitar to an open E chord, let's say, is you'll notice he can come up to an A chord, and it's right there by doing the slide up on just the slide right up at the 5th fret.
Now here's a little trick you can do: a minor. If you have your action high enough, you can do a minor chord by putting the bar across and then putting your index finger.
Wow, that's pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice little thing.
All right, we've got some more questions coming in. J745 is asking, are P90 pickups the best for slide guitar?
Well, I like them, but
It's probably
you
just
know,
preference, personal
it's
preference. I would think.
I have I have an old airline guitar that was made in the 50s, and they have these cheap pickups on them that look like humbuckers, but they're single coil, and they sound amazing. I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. It's just, I like to have an arsenal of sounds, so, you know, P90 sound, humbucker sound, single coil sound.
James Polito is asking, how many guitars do you own?
Right now, I think I've got it whittled down to maybe 60. But that includes ukuleles, electric guitars, basses, and mandolin, you know, things
What's
like
your, probably your Reverend Guitars are your main gals that you...
Well,
that you
yeah,
grab
but
for
they
the guitar.
started, like this guitar, this is my signature guitar. It's currently out with Reverend. But it started as a prototype that has some of these features. So I used to always doodle in my notebooks and stuff. And finally I did a design I really liked. I had it made. So those guitars I'm closest to because they're my creations.
James, okay, Six String Shooter is asking, what was your first record? Do you remember what your first
the first record I ever played on was a good record. It was Todd Rundgren. It was an album he had called Something Anything, and the song was SLUT.
There you go. The makings of a great career, right there.
Yeah. He was the first really professional guy that I worked with in New York, and he took one of our songs. The same guy that showed me the slide guitar tuning. Yep. We were a duo, and we wrote, and a song of ours got on a James Cotton album that Todd produced. And when I went to California, I wound up staying with Todd for several weeks, and he invited me to play on that record.
Wow, wow! So many great, so much musical history you have, come across and worked with over the years.
Yeah, we've all have our stories.
Joy.
It's just sticking with it. It's the main thing.
Meeting some great people along the way. Let's see. Another question, Rick. How do you get such great tone?
I just, I don't know that I get a great tone. I just try to avoid a bad tone. And if it comes out sounding good, then I've lucked out.
Yeah, we've kind of thrown Rick a little bit of a curveball. He's playing through one of our amps that's actually here at the studio, not the normal amp that he would be normally playing through. What do you normally play through?
Well, I have some Reverend, the same company that makes my guitars. They were making amps for a while. I like those. I like the old Fenders, like a Deluxe Reverb, Princeton Reverb, Bassman. Yeah. I have an old Bassman from 1959 that I bring out. I used to have a couple of Dumble amps until someone offered me
probably ridiculous amount of money, because those are like gold these days.
Yeah, but there are amplifier companies that make a sound that's very similar to that, and clone, So, I think you have to trust your ears. Yeah. Is this amp does it need more highs? Can you bring more lows into it? Is it too overdriven? I think it's just feeling comfortable with your sound.
Part of that, most of your tone is in your fingers, I would say, is probably in you. Rick could probably pick up my guitar and sound pretty much like Rick Vito, and I could pick his guitar and wouldn't sound anything like Rick Vito. So much of it has to do with your touch as well on the instrument.
Well, it does, yeah. I've marveled at other guitar players doing that very thing that you described.
Yeah. What kind of slide? We had some folks asking about your slide.
Yeah. This is called an Acoustaglide. Acoustaglide.
Fabian, maybe you can find that link and put that. Fabian's our moderator.
Sure.
Fabian, maybe you can find Acoustaglide, and a great company. I was looking at them earlier today, and this is
it's tapered at one end for some reason. I think it was originally designed so that the fat end would go towards your hand, but I like it this way.
And you put it on your pinky.
I wear it on my pinky most of the time, yeah. It just gives me the ability to play with these, these other fingers easily, and then use that. This one here is a new alloy that cannot be dented or marred or nicked up. They also have different alloys that are sort of a silver, nickel-plated.
Are there differences?
Brass.
I know there's brass ones, there's metal ones, there's glass ones. Are there differences in tonality between the different ones?
In the Acoustaglides, I don't hear a tremendous amount of difference. It's really subtle.
But probably has to do with weight. Is probably
weight does definitely have something to do with it. I used to use, before the Acoustaglides, I used to go to Sears and get the Sears Craftsman sockets, either the 7/8 or the 11/16. They're solid steel. They sound great. Great slides. But some people prefer glass, or I've seen people use plastic, pen knives. There's all sorts of different kinds of slides. I think it's just finding something that feels comfortable, that gives you a good sound. I like a heavy slide myself.
Yeah. And putting it on the pinky allows the use of the other fingers to do other chords and soloing and then mix between the two. Yeah. Let's see. Papa Hoigs, I'm going to mess up the name. Rick, do you compensate the action by placing a little more bow in the neck, or is it all by just raising the nut in the saddle? That was a question I kind of had too as I was looking at your guitar.
Well, yeah, the nut can't. I don't mess with it generally, but if the nut is really low, really close to the fretboard, it should come up a little bit. This is of vital importance to just bring this up really high. This is probably as high as this thing can go.
Yeah.
And then the neck sort of compensates itself. I don't do it, but I notice once you put some tension on it with thick strings, and I use thick strings.
Yeah, tell us about this.
I use 13, 17, unwound 20 or 22, unwound, 30 or 32 wound, 40 or 42 wound, and 50 or 52 wound.
So that is very thick for an electric guitar string. It's probably those are practically
that'll bow your
acoustic
neck
guitar.
a little bit.
Yeah, it'll put some stress.
Yeah.
Not stress, but I mean it'll crank that neck up a little bit. Let's talk about slide technique and playing. For a beginning slide player, the battle, I know, at least for me, has been muting out other strings, getting the string that you want to do what it's supposed to do, to be able to ring out, but not cause all these other strings to start doing their thing because of the slide that's touching them.
Right.
How do you talk about some of the ways that you're muting?
Okay, this part of your hand is really important, because this is what's going to mute you all the time.
And he's got that about an inch up from his bridge.
Yeah, it's just above the lead pickup usually. Yeah. And then another thing that I do is I start off with one string and try to mute the 5 below it. And then going to the B string, what I do is somehow I get one of these fingers to hold that E string and
to touch
mute it
and dampen out that first E string.
So I'm muting the bottom 4 strings with the meat of my hand, and I'm holding down that top string. And then I can sometimes, if I want to do the G string, I'll hold both top strings with these 2 fingers and
right. And also, if you're new to slide playing, you're putting the slide exactly above the fret. So not behind the fret as you would normally, if you're just fretting a chord or something like that, you put your fingers kind of behind the fret. When you're doing a slide, you want that slide right over the fret. It's basically taking the place of the bar of the fret making contact. It's just now the slide is making contact.
That's right. Yeah, you can slide into that. But in between frets will give you a flat or sharp note.
Yeah, which is the difference between bad slide players and good slide players is playing in tune.
You want to try to play in tune, as best you can.
Little ways to practice that. Take a familiar melody, doesn't matter what it is. Happy birthday, whatever. Yeah. And try and catch that slide and make that pitch sing where you want it to sing.
That's exactly right. I tell people, something like something a little simple like that, or just taking going an octave, say starting at G. It's good exercise.
Yeah.
Or going to the 4 and 5. So if you were in G, it would be C, D.
One of the things I'm also noticing, guys, I wish you could see my angle, is that as Rick's playing, it's not just the pinky and the slide. He's actually kind of helping steady that slide with his 3rd finger.
Yeah, this finger does support the
and that
slide.
Just gives it a little bit of stability, I would imagine, that you have a little bit more control over it.
And I pivot with my thumb, sort of. I have that on the back of the neck, sort of like that.
Yeah, the thumb is almost flat as he's doing it, just kind of
And I use that to get the vibrato with. That's my that's the point that centers the rest
Yeah.
of the hand.
Yeah. Wow. Did anyone teach you slide playing, or you just picked it up?
Past that first lesson, I pretty much just stayed with it, and that's the thing. Sometimes doing things the wrong way turns out to be the right way.
Yeah.
5 years later.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
you, because you're creating something that's the way you play.
That's right. It's in your own sound, of which
Yeah.
slide is so expressive that it really, I think, even much more so than just regular guitar, you're able to give your sound and your character to your playing.
Well, in a way, it's more limiting because it's hard to, you can't play the same kind of arpeggiated style
Yeah.
as you can with fingers
Mhm.
and picking, but it does allow you to go in between like a voice.
Yeah.
You're not confined to the note on one fret. You can kind of like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah. Mm.
I
Very
like that.
wonderful. Wonderful. Let's see. So many questions already coming, and I've got so many notes here as well. We've already talked about a lot of the slide playing things. Let's give Rick a rest just for a second and give away some stuff. Rick had brought a couple of CDs. This is Rick Vito, Rattlesnake Shake. Tell us about this.
Well, this has mostly all slide on it. That's why I brought this one.
Yeah.
And Rattlesnake Shake was a song of Peter Green,
Mhm.
who was the founding member of Fleetwood Mac. And, of course, I still work with Mick Fleetwood in
Yeah.
our blues ensemble. And so that was sort of started off as a little bit of a tribute to Peter, but it really isn't a tribute record because, there's mostly my songs on it. And
Mhm.
but it's an entirely slide guitar album.
Someone is about to win it. One of you crazy folks is about to win this. We'll get Rick to sign this before we leave. The winner of this CD is Brian Mackless. Brian Mackless. You have just won this CD. Hey, Brian, what you need to do is email us at service@legacylearningsystems.com. Give us your mailing address, phone number, things like that, and we will get this out to you. So congratulations, Brian. Thanks for being a part of all this. You also have your website, rickvito.com.
rickvito.com.
And with all kinds of resources and things on there.
Sure, absolutely. And you can, this contact page, you can write to me there if you like, or ask questions. There are videos, there's pictures, there's history.
Yeah. One of the things that Rick did with the Mick Fleetwood Blues Band was nominated for a Grammy. This was in
2010.
2010.
Yeah,
For best traditional blues album.
that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing project.
Thank you.
Fabian, maybe you can put up the link to that if you can find it. What's the official name of that?
Blue Again.
Blue Again. And there's a DVD I saw to it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, this live version and studio version.
Wow. Great project. I've listened to it at the office.
Thank you.
And just great. And I've seen you do so much playing over the years, the different videos. I ran across one of them here in my notes. Saw a clip of you in 1982 playing "Running on Empty"
Yeah,
with Jackson Browne.
that's
I
right.
think Bruce Springs. This was in New York. I think Bruce Springsteen was part of that.
Yeah,
It was like a bazillion people.
that was the largest audience I ever played to. They estimated that there was 1 million people out on the
Really?
fairway. It was pretty phenomenal.
Wow. Wow. What do you remember? What was the name of the event?
Jeez, it was an event for peace, as I recall.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
Peace Sunday kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Can't remember the
Wow.
name of it.
And then I've seen another clip of you playing with Little Richard, and you were in some purple suit or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah. I'd rehearsed all week with Little Richard to do that television show,
Mhm.
and the day before the show, he told me to go see his tailor, and I said, "Go see your tailor?" And he said, "Yeah, you got to get your stage outfit." I said, "Well, I got a brand new, nice black velvet suit." I thought,
Yeah.
No, you got to go. So he sent me to the tailor, and the tailor pulled out this one-piece spandex lavender jumpsuit cut down here. And I said, "No, Richard, I can't do that." He said, no suit, no show. And I needed the money. So I went on national television in the lavender jumpsuit.
In the lavender jumpsuit. Wow. Okay. Enough of all that craziness. Can you play us one more
Sure.
tune?
Yeah.
This is song number 2, I believe it is. And then what is that?
This is just a little sort of mid-tempo blues thing,
Okay.
just called Slidin the Blues.
Slidin the Blues.
It's from the Rattlesnake Shake.
Okay. Great.
1, 2, 3.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to do a quick promo here just for a second, and we'll see you in about 60 seconds. Stick around. We're going to be giving away a guitar and more Rick Vito here in a little bit.
Furthering your education, Legacy Learning Systems offers a unique resource to all students, the Learn and Master online community. Here you can communicate with fellow students and course instructors, and immerse yourself into an interactive community where knowledge, fun facts, and experiences are shared. Signing up is easy. Take your learning to the next level. The Learn and Master online community. Your place for serious instruction.
Hey there, Steve Krenz here, and I have some exciting news. We're finally finished with our brand new guitar course. You know, when we asked our students what they would most like to see from us next, it was overwhelming: fingerstyle guitar. So that's right, we've created fingerstyle guitar. Learn and Master Spotlight Fingerstyle Guitar is our newest addition to our line of guitar courses. This is the result of popular demand from our friends and followers, and I couldn't be more pleased with how it's turned out. You know, imagine sitting down with just you and your guitar and playing a solo fingerstyle arrangement of one of your favorites. You know, I created this course so you'll have the tools to do just that. We've got special guests, interviews, basic, intermediate, advanced lessons in everything from traditional acoustic fingerstyle playing to arranging songs for solo guitar to classical jazz guitar, Merle Travis style picking with several stops musically in between. This is going to be a very thorough course, so get ready to take your guitar playing to an entirely new place.
Legacy Learning Systems' Learn and Master line of courses features an exclusive multimodal learning process to build skills from the ground up by utilizing 4 modes of learning: reading, listening, watching, and doing. Even a complete beginner can follow this easy-to-use program of self-directed study. Building confidence and skills, our system allows the learner to progress through intermediate and advanced levels to full mastery. Each course contains between 12 and 22 DVDs of visual instruction, a full printed workbook, access to our online support community, as well as 3 to 5 audio CDs in our music courses, which include fully produced jam-along tracks. Learn in the privacy of your own home, at your own pace with the Learn and Master family of courses. Bring your dream within reach.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking around with us. One of the things that Rick has done that probably there's not many people on the planet that haven't heard this is on the days that you worked with Bob Seger. Rick played on the song "Like a Rock," which has been used for so many things over the years. Probably most famously the Chevy truck commercials. I did a little bit of research on that, and that was one of the longest advertising campaigns in history using that song. It was over 10 years they used that song.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself in that recording session?
Well, I had been working with Jackson Browne, as we mentioned. And
so this is in New York, or this is in Los Angeles at this time?
I was strictly L.A.
Okay.
I only worked in New York once, and that was that first session with Todd Rundgren. So I moved to L.A., and that's where I did all of my professional stuff until I moved here to Nashville. Yeah. But I'd worked with Jackson, and his drummer was a great drummer named Russ Kunkel. Mm-hmm. And he had done a session with Bob, and Bob was looking for a guitar player, to do some overdubs on some tracks he'd cut, and so he recommended me.
So Bob and you had not met?
I had not. You know what? I had met him casually. Oh, hi, Bob. One day, but in passing, just didn't ever talk to him or anything. And so I got the call to go in to try playing on these tracks. So I went in, and we really met for the first time, really then. And so he put up the track, and it was this really kind of slow thing, really long, drawn-out tune. I said, well, what do you hear on it? He said, just wail and lead guitar. I said, oh, okay. I said, do you mind if I try slide on it? And he said, I don't really think I would. I said, well, humor me. Let let me try it. Just one.
Slide is what makes that whole.
Well, thank you.
It became the taste of that whole voice of that song.
Well, that's what happened. I got it on the first take.
So
That was the first take solo, and he didn't understand what the sound was going to be, but
Yeah.
it was it was that combination of the Les Paul TV model with the P90 pickup back here and a really good amp, Dumble amp, and
so what
just
we're
nailed it.
hearing was the actual first take. That
yeah, it was the first take, yeah. And so many times I just I'm praying that the engineer's got that tape rolling, because you're not thinking too hard about it. It's just coming off the creative side of your brain. And I did have to patch the 3 ending chords, because I didn't know the song was going to end there. But that was cool.
Can you play a little bit of that? I know it's in a standard tuning. Could you play a little bit of that solo for us? Maybe on your
Geez,
other
I don't
guitar
want
or
to embarrass them. This isn't E. Well, it goes something like. I'm not going to play much of it because, like I said, it was in standard tuning, and this is. Something to that effect.
Pretty amazing, considering it was in a different tuning when he actually recorded it. That's wonderful. Probably, I would venture to say, probably one of the more memorable, recognizable solos.
It ran for, if people didn't hear it after about 11 years of it running every day about 50 times, then there's no hope.
And that was recorded on a Les Paul TV? Or
Yeah,
Les Paul Junior.
Junior, yeah,
Les Paul Junior.
with the blonde finish. 'Cause that made all the difference, was
Yeah.
the blonde finish.
Uh,
One pickup guitar.
Wonderful. Let's give away one more thing. We're going to give away another CD. Same one that we did before, but Rick brought 2 of them. So we've got another winner of this CD. The winner of this one is KS Tough. KSTOUGH. KS Tough, you have just won another Rick Vito Rattlesnake CD. And congratulations. But you haven't won anything until you email us at service@legacylearningsystems.com. Thank you, Fabian, for putting that up. Fabian, you're just right on it tonight. You're right there. Anyway, so enough of all that sort of stuff. Let's catch a couple of questions. HB Legacy is asking, Rick, when you first started playing, did you think about quitting?
Yeah.
Of course.
All the time.
I would imagine there's lots of times as you're sitting in L.A. and wondering if the phone's going to ring.
Yeah, because when you're trying to do it and make a living at it, it goes beyond just the love of playing the guitar. You're dealing with business situations, and the people sitting on the other side of the table are often not very nice people, or people that are encouraging, and sometimes things don't go your way for years on end, and you got to make do with whatever is there at the time. So I would say that even now I have days where I just, I get frustrated with being in the music business.
Yeah.
It's just not all peaches and cream like, MTV would have you believe or whatever.
Yeah.
It can be a struggle, but the rewards can be really great. And of course, if you can keep that love of your instrument as in the forefront, that's going to help sustain you, because this is a pretty good friend to walk through life with.
Yeah, yeah. Have you, you've played so many great things. What was a great gig? What was a great hang? The band was great. I'm sure it's not even necessarily the biggest one. I'll tell you there's been a couple of
gigs that stood out in my mind. One was that one you mentioned in Central Park, just by nature of the fact that there was so many people there. That was a lot of fun. But when I was a member of Fleetwood Mac, we played Wembley, outdoor Wembley.
Yeah.
And at one point, the band was just, they were on the home turf and they were on, hitting on all 12 cylinders, and it was really killer. And I had my moment, and I went out there and I was standing in front of this wall, just giant wall of speakers, and playing my solo, and had giant screens of us up there, where you could see them. And I just thought, God, thank you, God. this is, I'm on top of the world kind of moment.
That's right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then, other times it's just great nights in a little club somewhere where you're not nervous, and it's just happening. You're playing great, and everything that you practice is coming out well. And so there's been a few nights like that where they're lost to the ether, but they were great.
And you're still fairly busy. I look at your schedule. You were just recently in Hawaii with the McLeod Blues Band?
Yeah.
Or that was a different band?
No, that's right. Yeah. I'm actually leaving again next week to go out there for another 10 days or so. Yep. So that's not been too bad. I've been back and forth to Hawaii maybe 20 or 30 times in the last few years. So I love it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, let's... I had one question there. That was a good one. Six-string shooter. Do you still get nervous?
No. Yeah. Yes, I do. Usually, if I have a gig where it's my gig, and I'm usually nervous all day long. Yeah. Like my wife will say, "What's the big deal? You've done this a million times." I don't know what it is. It's just it hits you in your stomach, and you're thinking about everything, and you just, I just saw a great show in Johnny Carson, and I didn't know this, and no one would ever know it, but Johnny Carson, before he went on every night, would just stand backstage and just try to get himself into it because it was so nerve-wracking. And once you get out on that stage, you transform and you kick into high gear, and so it's just part of it.
Nervousness is just part of it. I know it doesn't matter whether you're a player that's just learning and you're nervous to go play the song that you're learning for your wife or husband in the next room, or whether you're about to go on stage in front of lots of people. Nervousness is just kind of part of it, but it's almost something that you need. It's good that you wrestle with it, and it's good that you overcome it. A lot of players live in fear as well, and oh my gosh, I could never play in front of people. Well, that's kind of a big part of your development, is to being able to step out there and say, "Yep, this is my song. This is how I play," and that's a big part of being a musician, is doing that. You can be a guitar wizard in your bedroom. And if it never gets out between those four walls, then what good is the music that you're producing?
Yeah, that's true. That really is true. And it never really goes away completely.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to live with it and deal with it. And it's like Steve said, if you stay in your house and you don't give it out, if you don't give it off into the world and to other people, then it's sort of a waste. And that's something I deal with now, when times are slow and the gigs aren't coming, and I don't feel like going out and looking for work because it's, for whatever reason. But then that's not right either. You have to keep going. You have to keep looking for ways to play.
The love of your instrument, as Rick was saying, this is not just the thing that you wrestle with when you're practicing. This can be the thing that you go to at the end of a hard day at the office. You can grab your guitar and find a little bit of peace.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's get on out of here. Rick's going to play one more thing. We got a big giveaway we need to give away. Someone is about to win this electric guitar given to us by Epiphone, and it's a great little guitar. If you're interested, Rick could probably sign this, whoever wins this. So the winner of this guitar, Okay, I'm getting a little note here. Okay, the winner of this guitar is Chantal 13. Chantal 13, Chantal 13. This is a Sunburst edition, which is not anything that they make anymore. So this is actually a little bit more unique than normal, because they just don't make this Sunburst anymore. So Chantal 13, you have just won this. What you need to do right now, congratulations, Chantal. You just got a great guitar. Email us at service@legacylearningsystems.com. If you are logged into chat, which you really would pretty much have to be, also let us know if you're interested in having Rick sign your guitar. So if so, then we will have him sign it, and if not, we'll probably have him sign it anyway. So, but anyway, there you go. Congratulations. That's always fun. Lots of fun. All right, couple of announcements, and then Rick's going to play us out. Do you have any upcoming, do you know when the McFleetwood Blues, those are in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
this was, if you happen to be in Maui.
If you happen to be in Maui.
We'll be playing February 13th at the Maui Center for Performing Arts.
Yeah, February 13th.
Yes.
February 13th. And who's all in that band? You're in that band?
That's Mick Fleetwood and I started the band, and it's also there's two guys who live on Maui play. Lenny Castellanos plays bass, and Mark Johnstone is keyboard and harmonica player. And then we always have guests sit in. You know, you never know who's going to show up.
Wow. Check out Rick's website for information on all of that as well. RickVito.com's got all kinds of great videos and of all the amazing people and a lifetime of great music. And also, there's an instructional DVD on blues slide playing that you did several years ago.
That's right. It's that particular one is with Hal Leonard. It's Rick Vito Complete Slide Guitar.
Yeah.
And you can get it on my website as well.
Great instruction. Great instruction. Okay, let me talk about some of the things. We also did an interview with Rick probably well over a year and a half ago. That is on our Gibson Skills House on the content that we put over on Gibson.com. So I believe that's the white button underneath your Ustream video that you're looking at right now. There's 3 buttons underneath that. I believe the white button is the one that goes to Gibson Skills House, if I remember right. That'll take you over there to the lessons that we have over there. If you scroll down that page, we've got artist interviews. I think they're on the lower part of that page. Scroll through those artist interviews, and we had a fantastic interview with Rick. And we were at RCA Studio B here in Nashville. Great historic
Classic.
Classic room. Elvis's piano is in the background, and so many hits have been recorded in that room. Anyway, so we did a great interview with Rick a year or two ago, and so you can check that out over Gibson Skills House. We've got some different lessons up. I've got a foundation lesson over there, talked about the notes in the 5th position. I've got a power workout session over there, 10 minutes of working on pentatonic scales. What else do we have? I put up a new one last week on guitar effects, and we're talking about distortion pedals and just kind of an introduction to, what's the difference between distortion and fuzz and overdrives and things like that. Some of the other guys have put up some songs that are over there as well, teaching song lessons. So check those out. Lots of great stuff over there at Gibson Skills House, and we appreciate the folks over there a lot. Actually, next week over on Gibson Skills House, we're putting up a new interview with Will McFarlane.
Great.
So,
yeah. Will's a
I know
great
you
player.
have y'all met? Do y'all know each other?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we met each other a long time ago. And I actually substituted for him when his wife had twin babies who are all grown now.
Yeah.
But I
In
took
Bonnie
over
Raitt's
in Bonnie Raitt's band for one tour,
Yeah.
and then he came back in.
Yeah. Great. Will was here not just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Next, on February, I believe it's February 12th, is our next live lesson with a guest, and our good friend Jack Pearson is going to be here.
Awesome player.
So, wow.
Awesome player.
It's been well over a year since Jack's been with us, so it'll be great to have Jack back in our live lesson world again. If you like our live lessons and have enjoyed this wonderful night with Rick, please go down and rate our videos in Ustream. That helps Ustream to like us, and we love that. That helps us in so many different ways. Can you play us one thing on the way out?
Sure. Yeah. This is something from the Rattlesnake Shake record. This is actually was written by Peter Green, and it was Fleetwood Mac's first hit single back when they were a blues rock band in the late 60s.
What's the name of it?
It's called Albatross.
Albatross. Gorgeous. Thank you, Rick, so much for being
Thanks,
part
Steve.
of all this sort of stuff.
My pleasure.
It's great.
Thanks, everybody.
Keep up the practicing out there. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.